All right. Yo, what is up, guys? It's D from Minsahi, and today we're starting our first podcast. Today we have Cam,
What's
CEO of Ledford Billard, and it's your host, aka Cinnamon Swirl.
Cinnamon Swirl.
So usually we would have our co-host Aiden Torrance here, which is the co-founder of InstaHeat, but he's on a trip to New York City right now. So this is for you. Hopefully you can listen to this after. But yeah, Cam, let us know a little bit about you.
What's up, man? I'm an opportunist, right? So we sell game room furniture. It's not the first company I started, but it definitely became the breadwinner. So we just, we hustle, man. That's what we do.
Nice. So how long have you been doing this business?
So this company was started in 1964 by my father. In 2017, he was getting ready to retire, and I had started a digital marketing company, and I went to pitch him to become a client of mine. And before the meeting was over, he closed me, and I was working for him, and he was my sole client. And I did all the marketing for him because at that time he was advertising in newspapers and yellow pages, and he told me nobody was buying pool tables, nobody was buying furniture, that it was dead, and I didn't want to be a part of it. And I was like, well, nobody is buying off of newspapers and yellow pages. So we revamped the whole thing, and now, gosh, what is it, 5 years already?
Nice.
Seems like yesterday. And we go across the country, and we sold 2 today, which was pretty cool. So it's like, I'm just riding the wave.
Nice. So your dad started with newspaper sales.
Mm-hmm.
Then you brought your digital marketing agency skills to the business.
Yep.
So how old were you when you started digital marketing?
Gosh, I guess I got to think about how old I am today. I started the company in 2017, so that puts me 23. I started the company. So I was 23. It was May of 2017. I was working at GNC, and I did their digital marketing, and that kind of was my first client. That kind of kick-started my company. And then I just kind of took it from there, took on little website jobs. I never made enough to pay the bills until I left GNC and I started doing it full time. And that was a big transition period too. That was kind of risky because I just signed on a condo too. So it was a very interesting period of my life.
Nice. And so digital marketing was your first business, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How long were you doing that until you started working with your dad?
So I did that in May, and then I had a mentor at the time, and he's like, go to these restaurants, go to these companies, offer your services for free. You just need work to do, freelance type stuff. So I was trying to do the freelancing. I was trying to just get clients in the door, on contract, on paper. And I remember I sat down with this one guy, and I offered my services for free. I was like, I'll do it for free for 60 days. I'm going to increase your traffic at the end of the 60 days. You pay me what you think I was worth. He still said no. And I called my mentor, and I'm like, dude, I don't know. I was working at Pivotal Fitness as a sales manager, and I was doing this at night. And he's like, well, your dad owns a company, right? I'm like, yeah, he does. He's like, well, go pitch him. If you can't close your dad, maybe you'll come work for me, or maybe this isn't for you. So I go to pitch him, and I saw the numbers, and during my whole pitch, I really got to see inside of his business, and I saw the potential. And so really it was kind of those transfer moments where I saw an opportunity where I felt like I could grow his brand. I knew I could sell product, and I knew I could do it across the country with e-commerce sales. But the risk was, could I make enough money soon enough to pay my bills? And so that was in October 2017, and the year they ended, the revenue was $75,000 at the end of 2017, and we've been doubling each year since.
Nice. And so you came in starting off with trying to give your service for free.
Yeah.
Do you still recommend that as a good tactic to get your business off the ground?
That's a great question, because now I don't even do discounts, right?
Right.
So I think as a startup, it's so hard just to get momentum. You just want to get momentum.
Right.
That's the thing. Once you get momentum, then you run with it, right? You never let it stop. The snowball just affects, it happens, goes, it takes care of itself. I would say, if I was doing it all again, I don't see a problem with it, because I think what you need is work, and you have no proven background. You have no justification on why they should choose you over probably a business that's already started, right? You're not reinventing the wheel. You're doing something that somebody else has already done. So you have to prove yourself. And I think that's just one of the first steps in entrepreneurship is proving yourself. So yeah, I don't think it's bad to offer your services for free.
Definitely, yeah. I feel the same way. I feel, especially starting off, you have to show that you bring is some type of different service besides your competitor. So it can be something as little as maybe a cheaper price or maybe a higher price but better service.
Yeah.
It just depends with the business. But from your aspect, I think you did it in a good way. And right now you said you don't do any discounts. How long has it been since you've given out a discount for your business?
It's a philosophy. I think that, you know, if I'm going to do service,
Right.
and I'm going to offer a product, I think you have to offer a customer service that is exceptional to the competition. And in doing so, it doesn't warrant a discount. So if I were to come with you exceptional customer service, an equal or better product than my competition, and my price is less, I think that's a red flag from the consumer's perspective, especially if I'm buying a product. I almost don't want whoever I'm buying a product from to offer me a discount because I want the highest quality. I want the best customer service. And if I have a problem, I don't want there to be a problem.
I get you. I feel the same way, especially I guess you see that with a lot of big companies.
Mm-hmm.
They try not to give you too many discounts to show that they really value what they do. I saw a video earlier of this new company. I can't remember. I think it's called Rivian or some car company. They make supercars, and they got bought out by Bugatti. Not Bugatti. They didn't get bought out, but they got invested by Bugatti.
Yeah.
And so Bugatti has a big partnership and ownership over the new supercar brand, and so they paid the CEO millions, obviously, to run the company, but they wouldn't even give him a discount on the Bugatti. He drives a Bugatti, but they won't give him a discount because it's in the blood, right?
I think so too, and I'm a natural salesman, right? So like I started working, like I guess my adult career as a salesman, and one of the things like you learn early on is price is not an objection. Like price is never the objection. It's never the problem. You know, there's so many qualifying questions that go on before that to determine if they're on the right product, whatever. And if you've done all the pre-qual correctly, and you've qualified your buyer and you've presented them with the options that is right for them, price will never be the problem. So I just think like if I'm discounting my product, I'm discounting myself, right? And early on, right, you're like, dude, you're doing your services 100% off, right, free. But you got to get momentum. You got to get your, just feet on the ground, right? But as you grow in your company and as you get better and better and better, eventually there's a transitional period where it's, you don't do discounts because you're worth 100%, and sometimes you overprice. I never even like to be the cheapest one in my market because I know the extent that I'm willing to go for my clients. Like, I mean, I will go if I have a problem in New York, for instance. I sell a table, something happens in New York. Like, we will get in the truck. We will drive to New York. We will handle the problem, and we will come back at our expense. No expense to the customer, no expense to the client. That's a discount in itself, but it's on the back end, right? Like, I lose money, essentially. But I just don't believe in discounts.
I gotcha. So I noticed on your page and your website, how do you show people that you really are about your service instead of like, how do you know that somebody's going to go to your website and not expect a discount?
Right. So like if you go to my website right now, we're in such an interesting market where what I sell has three different prices. You have wholesale price, which is what I pay. You have MAP price, which is minimum advertised price, and MSRP, minimum suggested retail price. So if you look at my website, every single product has two prices on it, the MSRP and the MAP price. So the minimum advertised price is kind of like common across the industry. If it's online, that's the lowest price you're going to find it for. That's the lowest price anybody can list it for. But beyond that, I'm not going to offer any real true discounts. Like we may do some marketing like 5% off first time buyers, but it's not really a discount. It's more of an incentive to purchase the first time you're on the website, right? First time you mentioned was. But I think what really relays the customer service to the client is when you get them on the phone, right? So they see the website, they see the story, they see the products, they're interested in it, but 9 times out of 10 they call. When they get on the phone with me, they may be in Las Vegas, New Jersey, wherever, and they're going to speak to me and they're going to be like, oh, I bought the table because I talked to Cameron. In my industry, it's pretty easy, I would say, because I can go to a lot of different states and go into a lot of my competitors' stores, and you won't even get spoken to. Like, they'll just wait for you to, like, say, okay, yeah, I want to buy this table. And I think there's more finesse and there should be a salesmanship That's a craftsmanship. That's a service just being sold, right? Versus just picking a product and scanning it at the register.
Right, right. So, in your way, how do you bring people to your website to lead them onto the sale, or do you outsource people?
Yeah.
Like, how does that work?
So I think you have a couple different avenues, right? So we spend a lot of money in marketing, Google Ads, right? That's primarily my specialty. So Google Ads, you've got prospecting that we do. So we'll connect with like interior designers on LinkedIn, stuff like that, social media. But it's more of a direct thing versus an advertised thing. So like for instance, one of our goals this week was to connect with 30 interior designers on LinkedIn. So like I had 10, the other guys had 10 as well. And so that's prospecting, but that's like that craftsmanship of the salesman savviness, right? And in doing so, we sold the table today. So.
Nice. And so you said that you do a lot of marketing and Google ads,
Mm-hmm.
right? Do you ever do Facebook ads or social media ads?
So we do. We ran it at one point in time, like when I first came on board with the company, and I just found that my ad spend was better spent on Google Ads, because what I found was on social media, a lower priced item seems to be easier to convert. Where I'm putting a $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 product in front of you, usually it takes time for them to mull over this purchase, versus they're going to swipe up shop now and we're going to buy our latest, Nike shoes, for instance, in your market, or whatever clothing that I just saw, on my Instagram feed, where like a pool table or, shuffleboard or some like high-end furniture, custom made, it may take us 6 months to build it. It's not, it's more of a time consuming purchase, because like there's designs and stuff like that. So we spend a little bit, but it's more on like brand awareness and like trying to build our social media presence versus like, we're really trying to sell that product.
Okay. I think with like our company, we focus more on social media.
Yeah.
Because of what you mentioned.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of hype.
Exactly. That's where all our customers are. Our culture, right?
Right.
They're all wearing sneakers. They're all making TikToks of their sneakers or posting what kind of shoes they have.
Yeah.
As opposed to Google Ads.
Yeah.
And so what are your tactics for Google Ads? 'Cause I know there's certain search terms you can like purchase or pay a lot to get your brand to be the number one whenever you search pool tables or something. How do you do that?
So there's an art to it, right? There's a craft. I have actually a specific formula that I do, but I can look up and I can tell you exactly what it's going to cost and guarantee you to be at the top of the page for whatever search term you want. So let's say for in your case, like if somebody's like, what's a rare shoe, right? Somebody's looking for this rare shoe that maybe only your company can offer, right? Or maybe only your company has. Maybe you bought up the whole inventory. I'm not familiar with the industry. But let's say they Google, Jordan 12s, flu games or whatever, like we were talking about earlier.
Right.
Well, I can make where your website popped up number one, and I can tell you exactly what it would cost per click. So you could set a budget for, say, $20 a day, and you could pay, say, the top of the bid page rate would be like $2, right? So you could pay $2 per click. I could guarantee you're at the top of the page whenever they search that specific search term, just that term. You could also do broad matches and phrase matches, and it's very dynamic, right? So if somebody just Googles Michael Jordan, you could pop up, but that's going to get very expensive because people Googling Michael Jordan aren't necessarily looking for that shoe. So I love the way Google does it, and it works well for like a retail product or kind of an e-commerce site. I think for you, Instagram's perfect though, because your target market is on Instagram, on social media, Facebook, TikTok. So advertising on those platforms, I think are perfect for you. I don't even know if I would do Google Ads for you specifically, right?
Right.
It may not be the best of your value, right? So that's in business, right? You want to have the lowest expenses and the highest profit margins. Well, if you're throwing money against the wall and you're spending a ton of money on Google Ads and nobody's converting, it makes no sense to continue to do it.
Definitely, yeah. I don't think our demographic is more with like searching up terms on Google,
right?
But basically what we do is we help people who are used to buying on Instagram, where they search on Instagram, the search bar, a certain sneaker. You can't find a sneaker. All you find is different resellers that could probably scam you from Iowa or some crazy place, right?
So how does your app work? Like, so if I download the app and I'm looking for a specific shoe, right? Am I going on your app or like a website, or like what's your vision with that?
Right. So, like how I started was I sold sneakers on Instagram, but the problem with Instagram is it's not the ideal place to build your business because it's hard to get a lot of customers, especially when you have a lot of other people around you or with a more established place. Like, let's say if you, for example, here in Greenville, there's a place called Varsity Goods, right?
Okay.
They have thousands of followers. They have a nice building, a nice store.
Right.
So it's hard for me to compete as a small business owner with somebody like them, right? So if, let's say, I wanted to buy a pair of sneakers, I can't go on Instagram and just search up a certain sneaker. It's just going to show me a bunch of random photos of the sneakers, but nobody that's actually selling it. So the purpose of the app is you can search up any sneaker, any condition, any size,
Okay.
any price point, really. And then you can find a bunch of sellers that are in your area or also all across the United States. And you can negotiate with them either price or if they, let's say if it's a trade, you can either trade multiple sneakers for one sneaker. It's all in one. So it's really ideal for the customer and also for the business owner or even just a reseller.
Right.
So it benefits anybody.
So it's a marketplace?
Exactly.
So let's say like you've got 5 pairs of shoes, so you would go on your app and you would create an account and you would list your 5 shoes.
Exactly.
And me as a consumer, I would search up this shoe. You would have those linked, tied together with a search term or whatever. So you would have your own little search within the app, and then I would go directly to, you're selling these shoes, I'm selling these shoes, he's selling these shoes, and I get to see everything. So it's kind of like a Amazon marketplace for the shoe game.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's really, like you said, it's a marketplace. A marketplace where you can buy, sell, and trade any kind of sneakers.
Yeah.
And one thing, it really benefits the sneaker culture, I feel like, because let's say you own your sneaker business, right? Like you said, you put your money towards Google Ads.
Right.
For a business owner that owns sneakers and sells sneakers for a living, they wouldn't really make much money off of Google Ads. Instead,
Right.
they would put on Instagram. But the
Right.
problem with Instagram is it'll show on people's feed even if they're not interested.
They're
in
just
buying.
wearing the shoe.
Exactly. So it'll show
Yeah.
it to you exactly whether you want it or not.
Interesting.
So with our app, we're building a feature where you can promote.
Yep.
So it's like something like Google Ads where you can
Yep.
promote. You can pay extra to promote your. Let's say you search up Jordan 1 bread toes, right? And if I'm selling it, I can promote my listing. So it shows anybody. I could show that listing to anybody who searched up that term
Right.
recently in like the past 3 days or whatever.
That's solid. So like, I mean, I think that's genius, really, because in the shoe market, because I'm familiar, and by familiar I mean I know friends who like do the hustle, right? But it's all off of word of mouth, right? Like, oh, I know D, so I can, yo, D, I want these shoes. You got these shoes in my size 10. Okay, great, boom, let's do it.
Exactly.
And then you get the negotiations, right? So I think it's genius because on your app, what you're going to do is, one, you're opening up the market nationally. I don't have to know D in Greenville. I can know D in San Francisco, still get the same shoe, have it shipped directly to me. Are you going to offer is the platform going to be free for the, I guess, dealer or retailer? Or?
So it's free for anybody to download.
Okay.
But if you want to list your page or list your business, free. Everything is free until you make a sale or if you buy an item. So the whole process is free. You can look for anything and negotiate. But once you make a sale, that's whenever we take a cut of it.
Okay.
But that's it.
That's smart.
Exactly.
That's smart. So like, I see a lot of different avenues with that too, because not only are you getting, the data from both sides, right? But if you start the ad platform where, now you're starting to advertise, right? Okay, my brand, I'm selling 1,000 sneakers a month. Well, like I have the revenue to spend to advertise my platform, which is really your platform. That's smart, dude.
Yeah,
that's good.
And also what we do is we make sure the sneakers are authentic because we don't want any fakes going through because that just ruins our reputation.
Yeah.
And you see that a lot with other companies such as StockX or Go.
Right.
The problem is they have a lot of they have StockX, from what I just searched, they have 11 authentication centers across the United States. They have more in other countries, but for the United States, they have 11.
Okay.
So there's big facilities where they hire people they train them and they hire them to authenticate any sneaker that goes through. So, but the problem with that is people.
So do they ship the shoes to these warehouses?
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
So the seller ships it to the warehouse first. They authenticate it, and then once it's authentic, they'll send it out to the buyer.
Okay.
But the problem is there's only so many authenticators,
Right.
and there's so much sneakers going in and out. So there's a high volume. So you can only expect the worst. It's high volume, and you're also like authenticating back to back to back to back to back. And we're all human, so we all make mistakes.
Yeah.
So there's just bound for a fake sneaker to go through, especially knowing how well these sneakers are going through, like how fake or how good they could be, even though they're fake.
So so your app, I mean, you're solving that problem?
Yes. So the way we're solving it is we partner with sneaker shops. So let's say, like you said, data was really important to us. So what we like to do is we like to get data from all our sellers and all our buyers and all our traders to see where they're located at, so we can benefit them. So for StockX, it takes a long time. Usually you can expect 2 to 3 weeks shipping. But what we want to do is we want to shorten that down to 1 week.
Yeah.
And if not, we want to shorten down to maybe a day. But what our plan is, we're going to, let's say, for example, I gave you the example of Varsity Goods. If we have a lot of customers here near Varsity Goods here in Greenville, what we could do is we're going to go up to Varsity Goods and say, we have this many users around your area. We would like for you to be an authenticator. And so what we'll do is we'll train them, and then we'll give them a certain percentage of every sneaker that they authenticate that goes through the app. So that means if we could get a partnership with multiple sneaker shops all across the United States, instead of having 11, we'll have 300 plus.
So I was reading in this book, Think Like Amazon, and part of the book it talks about like if you're going to innovate, and I think Elon Musk talks about this a lot too. But like if you're going to innovate, like if you're going to go into an industry, you have to innovate like dramatically. So for Amazon, right, they did 2-day free shipping. Amazon Prime blows the doors from any retailer. I can't do it in 2 days.
I don't think anybody can.
Like Amazon, they built their whole business around it, right?
Right.
And they blew up from it. I remember as a kid, like Amazon Prime $9.99, but I get 2-day free shipping. Heck yeah, dude, because it's worth $20 just in one order. So what you're doing and the vision that I see, and you can tell me if I'm misspeaking here. When you authenticate that shoe with a local retailer, it's a real human interaction, which is viewing the shoe. So that opens you up to, I mean, you could have 50 in one state, right? You could have 50 authenticators in each state. Now, if I'm selling a shoe, I look up on the app, find the nearest authenticator, boom, I go there, they authenticate my shoe, they value it. They could even do the shipping from that. You could have little mini hubs across the country. And now you wouldn't have to, you would have zero overhead. You're like the Uber of sneakers.
Exactly. That's literally our goal. That's exactly what we're trying to do this year. So we created a beta, and we're ready to launch. So this Sunday, we're having an event where we're sponsoring this event, and we're going to get a lot of information from users to see where we can improve before we launch.
Right.
And then once we launch, we're going to start getting partnerships, like you said, multiple sneaker shops across every state, honestly. If we get 50, that'll be amazing, because let's say there's a sneaker shop walking distance from me. I sell a sneaker, I could walk to there, drop them my sneaker, they'll authenticate it, and the thing is they'll have more time to actually evaluate the sneaker, look in and out, smell it if they have to, because Nike glue is a lot different from some Chinese glue.
Interesting.
So
I wouldn't know that.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's like a whole process, and there's companies that really try to use it, and there's companies like Legit Check where they use AI technology, and hopefully we can build some AI technology that would help our authenticators, because we want to make sure that every single sneaker is legit, to just have a reputation. That's really what it's about. Like you said, like you really focus on your service,
right?
And the same thing I feel like every company should do, and it's one thing StockX lacks in, so why not focus on that as well?
So I think that's a key point to like maybe the listeners might like. So if you're starting a business, you're looking to go into entrepreneurship, when even a small business, like there's so many different levels, but the biggest like prereq I think there is to being a business is like identifying a problem. You got to identify a problem and you got to create a solution. So I think like even with like your app, you've identified a problem, you've created a solution. I remember we talked like last year or something, and you were thinking about doing it, digitally, like scanning the shoe. And I remember thinking like that's so complicated, but you were able to innovate your innovation and create a system. Okay, so when people start out in business, they become self-employed, right? So they get a job for themselves, right? They sell a product that, like landscaping, right? Okay, I can cut your grass, I can do your mulch, I can do whatever. But they never leave the business, right? They're always working in the business. It's called working in the business or working on the business. so I think it's very impressive, especially that you have already progressed to the point where you're creating systems within your business, and it's not even really like, I guess, public at the point, but it's already has systems. That's going to be very important, especially when you get to the, I say, deeper levels or more advanced levels, because you already have systems in place, and now you just tweak them, right? It's like turning little knobs. Like, okay, well, I can take more volume of sales here. I can advertise. We spend more money here. We cut expenses here. We hire this guy. We fire this guy. That's impressive.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like with startups, you have to innovate, or else you're going to be nothing. Right. And for your business, you innovated. So you brought something that was a dying company at one point to something as big as to what you have it now, where you're going across the country, bringing billiard pool tables across the country. It's amazing. And like you said, I listen to a lot of podcasts. So like Amazon, or I don't know if you listen to Elon Musk. They just spoke with a full send.
Yeah, we were listening to that podcast today.
Yeah, it was good. Carlos isn't here no more.
Right. Yeah, he left.
But it was an amazing podcast, and he talks about innovation there too. Yeah. And it's just cool to think about. One thing I did want to ask you was, I noticed that you listen to a lot of Grant Cardone.
Yeah, big Grant Cardone guy.
Yeah, so I see you even have the wrist.
I got the wrist bracelets. We got it on the doors. We watch Cardone U every day.
So what is it that you like about him the most, and like his sales tactics?
I think it's. I think he truly understands sales, right? And I've learned sales through him, but what it was is I got I guess put on to him by one of my friends who was in sales, and he's like, man, you should check out, like, you kind of remind me of him or whatever. And I was like, I wasn't even really in sales at the time. Like, he was selling security systems, and I was like, oh, dude, I want to do sales. So I started just watching these videos on YouTube, found Grant Cardone, started studying him, whatever. But I think it's his finesse, it's his style, it's his, I guess you could say, tenacity, right? Like, there's never no. Like, I have something to sell you. Like, it's sell or be sold, right? That's his big philosophy. 10x your life. Like, all of his, I guess, life philosophies I bought into. Like, everything I read, I'm like, it just makes sense. Like, all right, yeah, logical, yep. Live my dreams. Like, he came from a background that's like any other average human, right? It's not like he was a billionaire when he grew up, right? So I think I just related with him, really. But he's the GOAT.
And so you learned a lot from him. What do you feel like is the best way to get a yes from a sale? And like, whenever you do get a no, how do you transition that no to a yes in the future?
Well, I think the most important thing is to get a yes or a no. Because a lot of salesmen, they will pitch and they will never close, right? Closing is, you have to hear a yes or a no. If they say yes, in my opinion, you didn't really close them. Like, you have to hear a no in order to close them, right? Because, like, it's, at that point, I call them like human cash registers. Like, okay, you showed them a product, they liked the product, you told them the price, and they checked out and they gave you money. Like, you didn't have to sell them. And I think there's a bad rep too when it comes to sales, because I think people think it's like gimmicky, right? Like, oh, I'm selling you. Like, I'm getting you to do something that you don't want to do. But I think when you really understand sales, that it's about service, right? Like Grant Cardone says, service is senior to selling. It's a big thing in his program. But really what he's saying is, you have a problem, I've got the solution, and this is the reason you should buy from me. And he has this quote, it's like, who's got my money? But basically, it's like, how do I get the money from your pocket, provide you a solution to your problem, and put the money in my pocket? At the end of the day, that's all it is. But I mean, I think you have to have a no and a yes. If not, you're not selling.
So let's do some role playing right now.
Okay, let's go.
Let's say you're selling your pool tables, right? I went on your website.
Yep.
I want to buy a pool table.
Yep.
And you're on the phone with me.
Yep.
And let's say you're pitching the idea to me to sell it to me. I live in California.
Okay.
And so I want the pool table for the kids, right?
Yep.
But my wife says no. How do you handle that?
All right. That's great because that one is quite difficult. All right. So let's do it. All right. So how often do you work?
Monday to Friday.
Monday through Friday. Does your wife ever complain that you're not home enough?
For the most part.
Does she ever want to spend more time with you?
She does.
Does she ever say you should spend more time with the kids?
Yeah, she does.
All right. So, what entertainment options do you have at home that allow you to spend more time with the kids and more time with the wife?
Probably just watch movies
Right.
and
So,
cook. That's it.
all right. That's what a billiard table does at your home. It creates an entertainment that you can create memories and create experiences that you'll share with your friends and family. Then everybody's going to want to come over to your house, and you're all going to play pool. You're going to be off the TV. She's going to be off the phone. So my question then is, how important is it to entertain your wife?
It's really important to me.
All right. If you could put a dollar value on that, how much would it be worth? Priceless, right?
Probably as much as the ring cost on my finger.
Okay. There you go. So at $6,000, you could have entertainment every single night. Every day you come home, every weekend, you wouldn't even have to date and leave the house. You would, but you wouldn't have to because you would have entertainment at home. You want to do the deal?
Let's do it.
Sweet.
That's nice. That's good. That's a good tactic. So you do a lot of traveling as well.
Yeah.
Is that always been something for Ledford Company? Or did it start off differently?
No, not so much. So it's traditionally it's a local company, right? Traditionally it's a local business model. I advertise in a lot of metropolitans, right? So, Nashville, Knoxville, Charlotte, Atlanta, Miami, Jacksonville, Kansas City, St. Louis, everything that's within a 6.5 miles. The audience can't see this, but you see our map over there.
Oh, yeah.
So we have blue lines marked out, which is 6.5 miles out from our location. So we have little pinpoint locations where we're trying to expand to, right? So we need a hub here, a hub here, a hub here, and that'll allow us to conquer the country. So when we expand, right, really what happened is during COVID, we had shipments coming in damaged. They were all coming in left and right, a rail here, a leg there, slates broke, whatever. So I'm like, all right, customers, they want the product yesterday. It's COVID. We have no inventory, right? Everything's coming in damaged. Everything's taking 2 weeks to get here. I'm like, the warehouse is 6.5 hours away. I just got in the van, went, picked up a load of tables and came back. And I got back in 14 hours. And I said, man, I can do that. We can do this. And then it just snowballed from there. I'm like, well, if I can drive 6.5 hours and pick up a table, I can drive 6.5 hours, put in a table for 2 hours and turn around and drive those 6.5 back. And you're talking an 18-hour day. I was like, I just need hustlers, somebody to go with me. So then I started just recruiting guys that really wanted to see the country, that didn't have a problem hustling, and were willing to work hard. And I'm like, look, man, you're working 2 hours. You're driving 12. So it just worked that way. An opportunity presented itself. We sold 5 tables. I think the first one was in Las Vegas. And I'm like, man, how do I put it in? Mm-hmm. So we started trying different business models, right? Do we drive? Do we have it shipped there, then fly out, then buy tools, and then return the tools, and then come back, fly back? What's the most profitable one? And in the process of that, just making slight improvements as part of our company culture. It's 1% a day. How can I improve 1% a day? It goes with the systems too. So we just eventually found the best way to do it. But we had to have the sales, and Amazon helped us out a lot on that. So we'd sell 5 in Texas, and I'm then it just became, shoot, how do we put these in? And
nice.
So that's kind of how it worked.
So Amazon is one way that you also sell.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's something new that I've never sold on Amazon before.
Yeah.
Is this your first e-commerce business, or have you done any e-commerce before this?
Nah, so this is first e-commerce, and then it took me forever to get the seller account. So it's called an Amazon seller account. I knew this guy from college. He was on Instagram. He was selling Alibaba Amazon accounts for 35 grand. He would build it out, and then he would take 20%, and you would just have your credit card on there, and he would manage everything for 20%. But it cost 35 grand to get it set up. So I was like, I don't want to spend 35 grand. I'll make this. Let me just try it. So I applied, boom, 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 got everything set up. Amazon's pretty cool because you don't actually have to upload the products, right? And you have to have special barcode numbers. But if somebody's already put one on there, well, you can just relist it. And you say, hey, I have one of these. It's in new condition, and you set your own pricing. That's pretty cool.
And so, does Amazon still provide 2-day shipping for those?
No,
for your
absolutely not. I wish.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that works is you actually ship. This is the way they were able to do it. It's genius. They are genius for this. But they're, you see Amazon warehouses, right? You see them everywhere. They created a system where if I had, say, a smaller item like cue sticks or billiard balls or something else I could do this with, I would ship, say, 400 boxes of billiard balls, one product, 400 on a pallet. It's sitting in their warehouse. Then every time I sell one of those, Amazon doesn't have to wait for me to bring it to them. They get it off of that pallet, put it on their truck. It's flown to whatever state or trucked over, and then it's delivered the following morning. And they have robots that do all their system. Like if you've never been in an Amazon warehouse or Google it, it's crazy.
So everything's automated.
Everything's automated.
Do you have any plans to automate your business in the future besides Amazon?
Yeah, but I haven't figured it out yet. I think automation is always the key, especially in our age and our element. Like you got to find a way to automate things. That's what I love about your company. Is about you. Theoretically, you wouldn't have to do anything once you got the platform set up. You really wouldn't have to do anything.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about it, the thing I love about it is, it benefits everybody. So even though I wouldn't have to do the authentication myself, it still benefits everybody. Even the sneaker shop owners, they'll invest into us first. But what we do is we bring them more money because they're making money off the users that are already around them.
Right.
And also, let's say if I sell a sneaker on the app and I go to a sneaker shop to get them authenticated, that's more footsteps into your store. And if you come out with more money, let's say you sold the sneaker for $500, you see another sneaker on the wall. It's something like Amazon does with Kohl's. I don't know if you ever heard of Kohl's before. They have an Amazon return center all the way in the back for a reason.
Right.
So you have more footprints in there.
Exactly.
And you can, if you return something, you obviously have more money in your bank account, and you have a higher chance of selling there.
Yeah.
So it benefits everybody.
It's kind of like, I always say this to my guys, I'm like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Like, and especially I think going into business, a lot of people get tied up on, I need a specific idea that's revolutionary to create, some new product. You don't have to do that to get into business, right? You literally, there's 100 landscape companies in Greenville. There's, like 10 detail companies. And I name these specifically because I created companies in both of these industries. Like, you just have to dominate the industry. And I, like when you were talking about automation for my industry specifically, I don't necessarily see the automation in the selling side of things, but in the producing, right? So I don't want to talk too much on it in case, like, for some reason a competitor's listening, but there's a huge opportunity right now in my market to produce and to do it in America. And if I can find the right automated process to be able to do that, if I can create that system, then I think I could be the sole manufacturer of these tables in the world. That's the goal. That's the aim, right? That's the vision that I see for this company is 10x, 100x, like, and that's really what 10x means, right? It's like 10 times, but really that's 100, right? 10 times 10 is 100. So it's like, we can really blow this thing up. We're not at the point where I can invest and put in the capital. And, I may go search for investors and stuff like that. We just haven't got to that point. But there's a huge opportunity. And if there wasn't that big of an opportunity, I wouldn't be so diehard about it. Like, I mean, I'm at this every single day. I've sold out other 2 companies. I love to build businesses, and just diving into this one completely. And that's what I think you should do with your company. Go all in. Like, and I don't think you will fail.
The one thing I do like about you is that you start multiple businesses. I remember last time I was with you, you sold the business on the phone.
Yeah.
I was like, that's so cool. And what that was a car detailing company.
Yeah, yeah.
How did you get into that? And I know you had a
partner.
A partner, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
How did you get him to come up with the idea, and how did you execute it all?
That's a great question. So it's a great story too. I met him at GNC. I'd go in, I'd get smoothies every day for lunch, and I was actually commuting to our warehouse. So this was like on my route. So I'd stop in, I'd get, a smoothie and then go on. So we're just talking whatever, and same conversation that we're having here. Like, I love to talk business and ideas, and I'm asking, how are the numbers? How's it like managing this store? Because I'd managed this store before. And so I'm just like, talking sales, and we just connected. And eventually I was like, dude, we'll do something, and detailing wasn't actually the first idea. The first idea was really a trash service to piggyback on top of my landscape company that I had at the time. I was like, well, all of my landscape clients, they have trash. Like we can just provide that service for them. Like easy, I'll call them. I already got a reputation. It'll be easy deal. And then we started looking. It was like $40 a month for every Friday to pick up trash. And I'm like, yeah, that's not nice enough for me. Like no offense, but like I want something a little bit sexier, right? So he's like, dude, mobile detailing. And then honestly, at first I was like, dude, hell no, bro. I ain't washing cars. Like, come on, bro. And so he broke it down to me and explained to me the difference between a car wash and a detail. And he started talking to me about prices and numbers. And when I saw the opportunity, I was like, he's like, I've got the experience. I know how to do it. So we were a perfect partnership because you had an individual who could do the skill, who knew how to do something, but he didn't have the business-like mindset, right? He didn't know how to do it. He knew he could do a service. I had the business-like mindset. I didn't know how to do the service, right? So it was just a perfect combination, and we ran with it, and it was great.
That's good. Yeah. So there's like accelerator programs called for example, YC, Y Combinator. Mm-hmm. And what they do is they invest into startups, any stage startups.
Yeah.
And what they look for is people who either are the business, they know the business and they know the service that they're providing, or they have a co-founder that knows one thing and the other person knows the other thing.
Right.
Obviously, it would be best to know everything, but not everybody knows everything, right? So, for example, in my case, I'm more familiar with the business side of things. Like, I know sneakers. I know everything about the culture. I've been in it for years. I have YouTube videos from 2012 with my little baby voice, right?
That's cool.
And I don't know how to code. So I have to find someone exactly what you did, right?
Yeah.
And you find somebody that knows how to do the product or the service, and then you go on from there.
Yeah.
And so with that, did you also focus on Google ads, or did you do social media ads with that?
Nah, so that was another part that was like perfect with it is Google Ads was a search platform for that. I immediately got us to the top page. I built our website. I did a marketing video because I knew video was like, at the time, it was going to be the way to relate to the client, right? The person searching us, right? The potential customer. So we did the video. We literally made the website. I just threw a bunch of money on Google Ads, so I knew we'd pop up first page. I think I was spending $1,900 a month for the first 12 months in ad revenue just to get our brand awareness. And then what happened is we started using social media where we use groups. That Greenville, all things Greenville, any group that had 10,000 members on it that was Greenville, these yard sale groups, stuff like that. Because we were specific to local clients, right? We're not going to California and detailing your car. Right. Just in Greenville, Taylor's, Greer, whatever. So I just started diving in that and started every time I saw somebody search, looking for a mobile detailer, I was the first one at Clean Whip Mobile. How can I help you? I just sent you a DM. So and that's part of the hustleness, the sales side, prospecting, right? Getting out there, being on the hunt, right? So you're getting business every single day. We're keeping that momentum. And then eventually we landed a couple big communities, like the Cliffs communities. We got an interview with the corporate office, and we killed that. Got an interview with one of the communities. We killed that interview, and then it just started a snowball effect where before we knew it, we had all the communities, and we were their recommended vendor. And so I got them down, signed contracts, 2-year deals. We're talking $300,000 contracts, over the course of 24 months, where it was that guaranteed us revenue, but that really built a foundation for the company. And the cool thing I like about it too was that the kid that was my partner, he didn't want to he'd almost given up. He was business owners are different, is what he told me. And I was like, nah, business owners are no different than you and I, but they just take a risk and they never give up.
Interesting, yeah. With car detailing, I know there's a lot of competitors, because I know there's some people that do just simple car washes, and then there's people that do detailing.
Yeah.
And I know there's a huge difference. How do you, because I know you value a lot with service.
Right.
Is that something also that you really focused on with car detailing?
For sure. With every company that I'm ever going to do, customer service has to be number one priority. Because that's the easiest thing to differentiate yourself. Everybody says they're going to do something. Everybody says I'll be there. Da 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 da. Everybody says I can do this, but very few people, can back it up after they've went 6 days detailing 4 cars a day and they want to quit on Sunday. Take Sunday off, so I'm just going to cancel. Or it rains, so I don't have to drive to this client's house. That was one thing that we did. I'm like, rain, snow, sleet, whatever. We are showing up to this client's house on this scheduled appointment time. We will cancel in person. We're never going to call a client and say, nah, we can't show up. And I knew that from landscaping because our clients were in Simpsonville, but our warehouse and equipment was in Travelers Rest. So it may be raining in Simpsonville, or it may be raining in Travelers Rest and not in Simpsonville. So if we call out because it's raining in Travelers Rest, well, our clients were like, yo, where were you? Like, it never rained. And I was like, oh. So I just learned that lesson early, and I was like, all right, we'll never cancel. Only in person will show up every single time. But that separates yourself because nobody's willing to go that extra mile.
Definitely, yeah. And so another business I saw that you had was Turo. You have some cars rented on Turo.
Yeah.
How's that going for you, and how did you start?
It's another one of those opportunity things, man. It goes. I challenge myself when it comes to certain things. So, for instance, like I saw on here that a vehicle is traditionally a liability. Well, I was like, how can I make it an asset? How can I make it so? Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, the famous line is: a liability takes money from your pocket, an asset puts money in your pocket. Well, traditionally, a car is a liability. Right. You're going to pay. No way it's going to make money. Turo, it's kind of like your app, created the opportunity where you can rent out your personal car to qualified drivers, so you don't have to worry about them destroying your car or anything. And then I just happened to have a Jeep Wrangler at the time, which was the most popular car on Turo. So I'm just doing research. I go home 9, 10 o'clock, and I just start studying. Right? I'm studying business. What's the hottest trend? What's the newest thing? Right? Because you always have, like, everything's changing, right, with the season. So Turo was one of those things, and I had a Jeep Wrangler, and I'm willing to try something. I'll try anything out, and it just worked, and it made money, and I ended up paying for my Jeep, and I was like, I had a BMW at the time, and it had 6-speed. So I was like, I'm never going to rent this thing out because they're going to be joyriding. They're going to burn the clutch out. I'll get this thing and it'll be missing third gear or something. So I was like, so I sold the BMW.
Had a really nice M2 by the way.
Oh, yeah, that car was sick.
Competition.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. Favorite. Great ride.
Beautiful. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah. I saw you drifting in it and doing donuts.
Oh, you seen that? Yeah. So I had a lot of fun with that car.
Right.
And there's some stories in that I may or may not have been pulled over in Atlanta and told that I had a helicopter following me for the past, few miles.
Oh my
Crazy
God.
story. I thought I was going to jail, man. I pull up. I get pulled over, and I pull over and take the keys out, hand it to the guy who's with me, and I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm going to jail. I was running 155 through downtown Atlanta, like underneath the bridges. Don't recommend that by any means, but that car felt like it was going 80 at the time. That's just a testament to that car. And yeah, I may have knew I was speeding, but 155, it didn't feel like that. It felt like 80, 90, so, but I love that car. So, but no, I sold that car for more than what I paid for it, and bought a Tesla.
Model 3.
Yeah, because it was like I'm like, gas prices are going up. People aren't going to want to rent the Jeep. So I'm like, shit, I got to come up with something. I was like, well, I'll do the Tesla, and I'll make Turo pay for the Tesla, and I'll drive the Tesla when it's in town, or drive the Jeep when it's in town. And so now they both rent, and sometimes I'm walking to the office.
Oh, so you had times where they both rent out?
Yeah. They've both been gone for like a week, and I'm sitting there thinking like, damn, I need a third car.
Another M2?
Right.
M3 maybe?
I don't know, man. If we do something else, it's going to be maybe like a Porsche.
Ooh.
Might be a Porsche. Might go like a yellow horse. I don't know. We got to figure it out.
What are you looking at? Cayman? 911?
Oh yeah, it's going to be 6-speed, something similar to like the BMW, but
because the problem is now the car market's now it's starting to die down a little bit, but it was at a point where last year 2 years ago before COVID, you could find a 911 for $100K.
Right.
Now you look at a 911, it's probably around 200, or if a GT3, $300K minimum.
Yeah. So that kind of happened with the BMW. Is I bought it December 2020. And then
before COVID.
Bro, perfect time. Bro.
That's the best time.
So literally, like, the car only went up in value, and I was like, yeah, this is stupid if I don't sell it. Because like,
for sure.
the car is like, and I bought it because Exotic Car Hacks. I don't know if you follow him on
Yeah,
Instagram.
I heard of him. I see him on YouTube all the time.
Yeah, so I followed him. Like I paid him like $250, whatever, to learn his information. I think information's so powerful, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to know all this, dude. You don't have to create all this. Like this, if somebody's made $100 million doing something, well, they know what they're doing. Just do what they do. Try it out. It may work for you. It may not, but it's worth the effort, right? Try something. Fail. If you fail, you only lose money, right? You'll make money tomorrow. So, yeah, Turo, it's a good gig.
Do you feel like Exotic Car Hacks helped you a lot? Or you think that $250 was worth it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it made me... I drove a BMW M2 for 14 months, put 10,000 miles on it, and got paid $267 a month to do it.
That's insane.
So for $250, and I think it was like holiday special. I may not even pay $250. It might have been like $49.
That's insane.
But he broke down the like what to look for. I didn't know like there's things called in each car dealership when they buy a car, it's on on a payment plan. Well, the payment plan is 90 days. So the closer that car is like to 90 days, the more willing they are to sell it.
To let it go, right?
Because they have to pay the bank. So say if you got a car that's $100,000 and they've had it 89 days, well, they'll sell it to you for $95,000 and only pay the bank back $5,000, right? They'll lose $5,000 because if not, well, they got to pay them $100,000, and so they will lose money, and you can make money, and the car will still be worth retail whatever it was. So if they paid $100,000, it's probably worth $150,000. Well, you can make $55,000 just because they're in a position where they have to move the car.
Is it hard to find cars that are on the lot for more than 90 days?
In my experience, the BMW was on the lot for 72.
Oh,
And so it wasn't like I had a lot of leverage,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I'm sure you can find some that are 80, 85 days, right? Because you think if you're in the position where you're betting, I'm going to buy this car and I'm going to sell this car within 90 days. So I'm not going to pay for the car. I'm just going to get the difference. And my floor plan is what it's called. My floor plan will cover me for $1 million. So I order $500,000 worth of cars. Well, if I don't sell any cars, I got a $500,000 payment due. I don't have $500,000 in the bank, right? They're like, so they got to
sell it.
They got to get capital out of these cars. So they'll start selling it for less than what they even paid for it,
Mm-hmm.
just because they need the money to make the payment. So you have to do your research. You have to be patient. It took me. I was searching for that BMW for a year and a half, and it just popped up on one of my friends had it at one of the dealerships he was working at, and it just popped up, and I was like, I went up and bought it. I was like, here's a check. I want this car. I didn't follow the philosophies 100% because I probably could have got it cheaper,
Mm-hmm.
but I did get 90 days no payment. So I didn't make a payment on the car for 90 days, which was 3 months. I owned it for 11 more months. And like I said, so that part of that, I parked money into it. So every payment I made into that car, I got 100% of it back and like $200 a month.
You made your liability into an asset.
Yeah.
Is that what you do with most things? Do you Airbnb?
I wouldn't recommend that. No, I don't Airbnb it. I wouldn't recommend trying to turn a liability into an asset. I did it out of like sportsmanship, just game, right? I was bored, I guess. And I was like, let me see how I can turn this into like something that makes money. Because not a lot of people can do that. So let me just see if I can do it, whatever. If I lose money, I get to drive a cool car,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And it just worked out.
Yeah, because there's some times where, because I'm a car enthusiast too, I love cars.
Yeah.
There's times where I want to buy, like, let's say a Mercedes AMG C63 SQ.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, can I Turo it? And then it's like, there's such a big risk to
Right.
that. So I don't know if it's a good idea right now, especially.
You know, Turo does a great job. You're not going to get any like crazy renters, but I do think you have to be smart with the car that you put on there, right? Like I wouldn't put the BMW on there. Like I just know, like Raph, if you think it's going to be bad, then it might be bad. So, like just eliminate that risk. And there was probably an 80% chance that car was going to get damaged because I know how I drive it. I would expect you to drive it harder than I drive it because it's not even your car.
Right.
So, but if you're going to get a car, do your research, be patient, find the right car to buy at the right price, and then list it on Turo. But like, do your due diligence.
Interesting, yeah. And do you ever find people to rent the car outside of Turo, or is it only strictly Turo?
Yeah, I've had a lot of friends hit me up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so, but ironically enough, like the guy who's renting my Tesla on Sunday, he'll have it Sunday through Thursday. This is like his 3rd month in a row renting from me, and he's even hitting me up. He's like, "Man, should I like buy a Tesla and put it on Turo? Like, this is crazy." Like, and I'm like, I mean, you've paid my car payment the past 3 months. Like, I appreciate it. Like, I don't think you should buy a car on.
Just keep renting out.
Yeah, just keep renting mine. But at the same time, I do share that. I'm like, it's a great deal if you can make it work. I live downtown, center of a metropolis, easy access. If you live on the outskirts, it may not be as simple.
Okay. Do you feel like the Tesla has been successful to you so far? Do you recommend it as a car to Turo? Like, let's say in my case, I have like a regular car, right? And I want to have a nice car like a Tesla, and I also want to rent it out so I can make money, or if not, just at least pay my payments for the month.
Right.
Do you recommend that as a good way to start?
If you can afford to buy the Tesla, you're going to save $400 to $500 a month in gas alone, most likely on average. I think that's what they advertise. So you have savings alone in gas, right? So it lowers your risk, right? Your payment's probably going to be like, say, $1,000 a month, where you're saving half of that in gas, right? So you get $500. So the question is, can you rent it out for, say, $135 a day, which is what I do for 8 days? You need, like 10 days to make your car payment? I think that's doable. I think electric vehicles are a high market item right now on Turo because people are traveling out of town and they're factoring in the gas price. And when they're paying $5 a gallon and they're driving 1,500 miles, it starts adding up, Well, now half of the trip in a Tesla, half of the trip cost is gas if you go on your own vehicle. So they'll rent it out. You do put a lot of miles on the car. Like, I've had it less than a year and I've got 16,000 miles on it. That is a lot of miles.
Right, yeah.
But at the same time, the Tesla battery, I think, has a 1,000,000-mile warranty.
I was about to say.
Yeah, there's no, maintenance to a Tesla, really. You brake fluids, tires, basic stuff, windshield wiper, fluid, stuff like that. But there's no oil changes. There's no transmission fluid.
Right.
There's nothing. So
a Tesla can go 1,000,000 miles.
They say the battery can. So I don't know about all the other components.
Oh, okay, but the battery can last 1,000,000 miles.
Yeah.
So let's say 10 years from now, I decided to buy a Tesla from 2020. It wouldn't really matter if the car has 300K miles.
It wouldn't. Now your battery's like your phone, right? So if you had your phone for 5 years, you start noticing, man, my battery dies pretty quick. So you're going to see the same thing in the Tesla, right? So the battery life is going to go down, but it's still going to it's not going to die. Right? It's not going to be junk, right? And I think Elon designed it that way. But say your wheel bearings, your brakes, your calipers, your wheels, the structural side,
right.
They're not warranted for 1,000,000 miles, so you're probably gonna at $300,000. You'd probably relate that to a normal car.
Yeah, I was wondering because I know Apple released some documentation of every time they release a new phone, they weaken the power of their older phones. I wonder if Elon is gonna do the same thing with Tesla.
Elon's a smart guy.
Yeah, he's intelligent.
Man, I don't know. I hope not. Don't do it, Elon. But they do updates. Frequent updates. And I think that's part of the cool thing about a Tesla is when you buy a car, Ford, Chevy, whatever, you have that car forever. Never changes.
No update.
The Tesla, right? Updates every 2 weeks. It's sometimes we had a big update a couple months ago. It was driving a new car. It was literally a whole different experience. The whole screen changed, different colors. Everything was new. They came out with this new light feature, so they play the songs and the lights flash and the mirrors move and all kinds of stuff. So it's cool.
I might rent I might buy a Tesla.
Yeah. I'll tell you, if you rent one on Turo, you're if you drive a Tesla, it sells it right there. You rent one on Turo. That's how I did it. We were in Houston, rented a Tesla on Turo. Literally on the trip, I went to Tesla in Houston.
Oh, really?
And I was like, I want to buy one of these.
Oh, I remember that because I saw you. I keep up with your story. All the time. I remember you guys drove it all the way from Houston to here, right?
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
so it was pretty cool. We went, but I literally went up and I was like, I want to buy one of these.
Yeah, I remember that. That was cool. That's out. I might have to buy a Tesla.
Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong.
You recommend? I'm 19. You recommend that? Would you recommend Carlos to do that?
I have actually. I can't lie.
Paid.
He talks about. Because he's trying to do the Turo rental thing.
Right.
So all my guys, I tell him, I'm like, look, man, I'm giving you this money. Like, don't go spend it on Gucci, whatever.
Mhm.
Like,
Invest it.
use my money to make more money. Like, that's the way I see it. Like, when I pay them, I don't think like that money's their money. I'm like,
Mhm.
this is my money. Like, don't waste it. Like, use that money to make you more money.
Like a dad would.
Kind of. I mean, I don't think of myself that way. I think of myself like, if I know something, it's my duty to like share it with others,
Mhm.
right? So it's like a dad, yeah, but I think more like a leader, right? I'm trying to lead them to be one a man. But if Carlos at 19 say can have as many rentals as I had and be a millionaire by 25, like really when I started, I feel like I did my job, right? Like I took what I learned, I took all my effort and energy, and I transmuted that into another individual, and now they're making money and they're living a life that's say better than when I found them, so to say. I just think that's my duty, right? So I don't know. Maybe it's a dad role,
It's
whatever.
a dad role. It's a dad role.
Hey, what can I say?
Funny. And then one thing I also wanted to ask you, I know you, well, and Carlos invests into the stock market. Do you also invest into stocks?
Yeah, I did, or I do. I'm about to be out of it because I closed on a rental recently, and so later I'm selling all my stocks. If I'm working a couple different avenues, but my original plan is to get out of the stock market because not that it's a bad investment, like long term, but I want to make my money quicker. And
Right.
like during 2020 when the market crashed, everybody made money.
Mm-hmm.
It's stupid simple. I've been trading since I was 15. And during that, when the retail traded with Robinhood, AMC, GameStop, all of that brought me so much distrust in the market because it wasn't traditional. It was so different, right? You had Discord groups buying up GameStop. I got lucky with AMC. I owned 1,000 shares at $2, and then it went to 25. I woke up one morning and it was like, my stockbroker calls me and he's like, bro, like, yeah, you know this stock's at $25 right now, and I'm like, sell it.
That's crazy.
So.
But you had 2,000?
Not 1,000.
Oh, 1,000.
At $2, it cost me $2,000.
2,000. Now it went up to 25 grand.
Yeah.
I mean 25,000. You sold it at 25.
Yeah, I sold it at 25 a share, so essentially 25 grand.
That's insane.
But I mean, the stock, it was like, so that was traditional. I'm like, dude, the stock's $2. I can buy 1,000 shares. Like, it's AMC. It's a huge company. It's COVID. Like, nobody's going to the theater. They will go back to the theater.
Yeah.
So my plan was to hold it probably till now,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I thought, it'd be like $9-10. I'll make a couple grand. I woke up and I was like, shit.
25, sell it.
Yeah, sell it. I was like, sell it. So I should have held it though, because I think it went to 70.
Oh, it went. Oh,
Like
that's right.
60, 70. I'm like, dude.
70 grand right there. That would have been insane.
Right?
That would have been another BMW right there.
Yeah, for sure.
Not even.
Yeah, I mean, I would have sold that and bought Tesla or something. Because that's what I did with the 20. I threw it on to Tesla. Tesla was like 680. It went up. The stock market's good, but it just requires so much time and effort. And you got to know what you're doing, right? So if you can trade options, you can, do all the retail trade side of things. So you can make some good money. I don't have the time to devote to it anymore like I did back then. In 2020, nobody was doing anything.
Right.
Yeah, I'm reading stock reports. I'm listening to earnings calls. Like, I'm diving into these stock companies, and so I'm paying attention to it, paying attention to what's going on with this pandemic, buying Moderna, selling Moderna. Like, now, I don't know what's going to happen. I think the stock market's going to crash. It's going up a little bit, right? It's making a little return right now.
Mm-hmm.
I still follow it just because I'm a business guy, but I don't know. Like, I don't know if stocks. It's the best way to take, say, 10 grand or less and double it. I think it's the easiest way unless you go to the casino. And like, you guys can do that. Like, you can't go to the casino and gamble right now. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Can't play blackjack, can't play roulette, but you can
Robinhood.
You can Robinhood all day
Right.
until they shut it down again.
Yeah.
But so yeah, it's not bad, but you just gotta be careful.
Do you are you on the crypto wave?
You don't hear a fan going right now because I got a Bitcoin miner back there.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so I am technically because I can't get off of it,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I didn't buy into it. Like, during the whole hype,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't buy into it. I wanted to buy into it. I think I made a little bit of money. I didn't lose money, but the money I made was really off of Dogecoin.
See, I put $1,000 into crypto.
Yeah.
At the worst time.
When it was maxed.
When it was maxed out. Bitcoin 65, Ethereum I think was, I can't remember.
I should have went in heavy on Ethereum. I did not though.
See, that's what I believe in the most. I put most of my money into Ethereum because I really liked Ethereum,
Yeah.
and then I also put my money in Dogecoin. So those are the main three I had my money in, and I bought Dogecoin on the day that Elon Musk tweeted that they're going to be accepting Dogecoin as a currency for their merch and stuff. So I was like, buy it now.
Easy.
So I did that over there in Peru. I was on vacation in Peru. Next morning, I wake up, everything's going down.
Damn.
I'm at the worst. Probably I lost like almost like 90% of what I had.
Yeah, see,
in crypto.
that's the weird thing about crypto because it's literally, from what I understand, is if I buy it, then you sell it, right? If I sell it, you have to buy. Somebody has to buy it.
Right.
If nobody buys it, it never sells, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So what the way I made the money, I just got lucky, bought in at the right time, right? So I'm paying attention. Dogecoins are, Doge is going to like 2 cent to like 8 cent, and I'm selling. Then it's falling down to like 6 cent, and I'm buying. Then it went all the way up to like 60 cent or something crazy, and so I made a little bit off of that. But I look back, I owned like 1,000,003 Dogecoin at like 0.001 or some shit. And that was like 6 months before it took off.
Mhm.
So like when I think, I'm like, dude, I lost money because like I should have made a ton.
Right.
But at the same time, if you don't have the money to gamble, you ain't got the money to hold on to it. You know, I don't know. I don't know enough about crypto.
Yeah, it's a whole different market compared to stocks. Like, I'm not really into both. Like, I'm still bullish on crypto. Like, I've lost so much money, but I'm still bullish.
Yeah. At this point, you have to be.
Yeah, I have no other choice. I have no other
You
choice.
gotta ride it.
Because it's either I'm bullish or I lost all my money, you know?
Yeah.
So, no, but seriously, like, even if I didn't lose my money, I'd still feel like crypto still has room to grow in the future. I think right now, I looked at my portfolio yesterday. It grew from what it was at. So I was like at 90% down. I think I went up to like 80 or something. Like,
Right.
It grew a little
It's
bit.
making a little return.
Yeah, so hopefully it keeps going up. Same with like the stock market. I know a lot of stocks and like companies went down in value and everything.
Yeah.
But I guess it's just a matter of time.
Yeah. So, like, I'm curious to know, like, your generation, right? So you're what, 19? I'm
Right.
28. So you're like 10 years behind me. Like, do you and your friends, like, what do you guys? Is it like main? Are y'all all talking about crypto?
I don't know. So like the problem with being 19 and being so invested into business is nobody cares. So the only
Interesting.
person I really talked to about crypto is Carlos.
Yeah.
Like I just spoke with him a couple of days ago. We went out for dinner.
Right.
It was like the first time I spoke about crypto or business or anything with him. Because a lot of people, they're either like really into college and just like partying and drinking and doing all that
How
stuff.
do you feel about that? You didn't go to college, right?
No, I'm in college.
You are?
So I'm just doing like online classes just
Okay.
to like, get it done.
So how do you feel about that though? Like, do you feel pressure from your parents? Do you feel like you gotta have a degree? Like,
Yeah, so a lot of it has to do with like pressure with family and also like
Right.
where you come from. So I came from a family that of immigrants, so they come from
Yeah.
Peru. They came to the United States wanting the best for everybody, right? So in the position that I am, and I'm not saying this to be as like brag or something, but I'm in the best situation in my family. So I have that blessing by itself. So in that way, I just have to take advantage. And so what my parents really want is a degree, but what I really want is an empire, right?
Yeah.
So one thing that they know that I don't really want to go to college. They know I don't really find much into it
Right.
because I've talked to them multiple times. But the one thing they just tell me is the degree isn't gonna make me successful. I'm gonna be way more than that. But it's just something to have behind you, right?
Yeah.
So
Did they say it's like a backup plan?
yeah, it is a backup plan. The way I see it is just to prove that it can be done,
Right.
right? So I don't want to rely on anything. I know if I was to be evicted the next day, college stopped, they just
Yeah.
rejected me from the school, I would still find a way, right? But that comes with being an entrepreneur.
Right.
You come from nothing and you become something out of it.
For sure.
And I know you've done that. Like you said, you started a dying down business to something as big as what you have it now, and you have
Yeah.
plans to make it even bigger. That's what an entrepreneur is. So, do I rely on my degree? No.
Right.
I'm just doing it just to do it. And I don't have a problem with other people not doing it. I think it's a good way. Like, for example, in Carlos' case, he's not in college. He's doing real life situations. He's learning sales, And I just think it's amazing. I spoke with him. I said, you're in the best position that most people our age are in right now. I haven't spoken to a single person that's in a position that you are. And it's just like, you can tell from the way that somebody talks. Today I saw somebody at a store that I met that was in the same high school. I thought he was going to be more successful, but I mean, it's only been 2 years, but you can tell his success to, let's say, Carlos and I, like there's a lot different in those areas.
So would you say you speak, all right, so like, I read this book this one time, and I had this mentor one time. He's like, there's 3 types of people, right? You know, people who talk about people who talk about events, and people who talk about ideas. So I would, like, just by knowing the little bit that I know you, I'd say you talk about ideas, right? So like, that's one thing I think that separates people, but I would say it's easier to talk about ideas for me specifically. Like, I don't watch sports, right? I watch it a little bit, I follow it a little bit. But like, if you were to ask me who's winning in baseball right now, I don't know.
Right.
I really don't. Like, basketball, I don't know. So I went to a conference, I guess it was last year, it was a Grant Cardone conference. He had his first like business summit and real estate summit. And where it's like 9, 10 o'clock at night, we're going to the bar at the hotel and we're all talking to people, whatever. And I just asked him, I was like, dude, what'd you think about like Kobe dying or whatever? And like, dude, I don't give a fuck, dude. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't even know how many points he scored.
Right.
So it's like the people who are making, and these guys are making hundreds of millions of dollars a year, bro, they are the people that people watch, right? The life that they live, the things that they do, like, they are creating technically like a reality TV show. And like, you watch the Kardashians, you want to be the people that people watch. You don't want to watch the Kardashians. You want people to watch you, right? So it's, I like people who talk about ideas. Right? I can talk about people. I can talk about events. I can socially do it. I don't like it though. It's just, I'm more natural at talking about ideas.
Exactly. That's literally how I feel as well. When it comes to sports, the only sports I really care about is soccer, basketball, and then one that I just started getting into is F1 racing. Because I know you're a car enthusiast. You like cars. Yeah. I love cars. F1 is just so cool. You know, you see Mercedes drive, you see Ferrari, you get the racers, and not only that, it's the people behind it and the fans of the F1. If you look into F1, most of the fans are high net worth people. Yep. They have a lot of money.
It's money.
Exactly.
That's all it is money.
So if you indulge your time into there, you get to meet people that are also high net worth. You get to speak about ideas with them.
So let me ask, 100%. I love racing. I think racing in a whole general, it's the ultimate competitor sport.
Definitely.
I can go faster than you.
Yes.
I'm better than you. It's competition at its finest level. And then it's like, okay, who's going to spend the most money to have the best car? Who's going to spend the most money to have the best driver, right? So I love racing. Like, I mean, auto racing, obviously, like any kind of racing, right? I follow it. I love it to death. But I was going to ask you a question is, like, when you think about money, right? Like, they talk about like high value men, this and that, like success, money. Like, when you just think about money, what are you like? Is that the motivating factor? Or do you feel like as long as I'm successful at whatever I do, like, money's just going to come?
I feel that way. So what I feel is, obviously money is an important factor. You can't live without it.
Right.
So you don't want to do anything for free, because if not, how are you going to eat, right? You're going to have everybody else eating around you, but how are you going to eat?
Yep.
Especially if you're the only one putting in all the work. So like I told you, in my position, I'm in the best position compared to my family. And so I want to really take advantage of that. And like I said, I want to build an empire. So I want to do that in the best way possible. And thankfully, I found a way that I can do it in something that I love. So since I'm a sneakerhead myself, I want to provide a service that it can benefit anybody else in the sneaker community, because I love the community. That's really what I love about it. It doesn't have to be a certain colorway that I love about it. It's the people around it. People that wait hours in line, days in line for a pair of sneakers. It's that type of people that you come into line with and then you talk to and you figure out their life. That's what I love about it. So if I could benefit their life in any way, I want to do it. And as a reward, money, why not?
Yeah, of course. So, like, you hear people talk about like, you know, like money's the root of all evil, and this is kind of like a Grant Cardone thing, right? So like money's the root of all evil, this and that, and it's like people have been programmed to think people who are successful and have money are like bad people,
Right.
you know. But really, like it sounds like to me like you're just a provider. Like you see an opportunity for you that your families put you in the position, but a lot of families put their children into a position to succeed,
Right.
and you know, half of them end up on drugs, half of them are alcoholics, half of them don't do anything.
Right.
So it's like I think it says a lot about you as a person is having the maturity one at your age to see what like it's not just D's life. I got an opportunity for my family,
Right.
and I think that's powerful. And I think a lot of people, especially the younger generation, and when I was your age, I know I wasn't thinking about that. I was 19. I was at Coastal Carolina, and I was worried about where we were going tonight.
That's a party school.
Yeah, like where are we going tonight? Like, is it this house, that house? Who's buying the drinks? What are we doing? And I mean, I think that was like for me. Like, I think everything happens to everybody for a specific reason, and as long as like you're trying to improve every day, and you're seeking something that is outside of like yourself, at the end of the day, you're gonna find success. And I think money will follow success. Like,
Right.
as long as you are successful at something, you do things right, I think money will follow it. But they always say like money doesn't make the person; it like reveals them, right? So
100%.
So if you're a douchebag, you're gonna be $1 million douchebag.
Exactly. Like what you said is, people think that money is the root of all evils. I think that's the most BS thing ever. And the reason why I say that is, if you like to drink, right?
Right.
And you have 1 million cans of beer, that's only gonna make you more of an alcoholic, right?
Right.
So if you
That's
have
a
$1
great
million,
analogy.
right? Let's say you're an alcoholic already. I'm an alcoholic. I drink every day, thousands of cans a day. Let's say like a crazy, right? Crazy
Right.
number. If I have $1 million, I'm gonna spend all my money on alcohol drinks, right? That only makes me more of an alcoholic. If I'm a person who loves to eat fast food, if I have $1 million, I'm gonna spend all my money on fast food. That makes me more of a fat person that eats fast food, right?
Yeah.
If I'm a person that loves my family and wants to provide for my family,
Mhm.
that's gonna make me more of a person that, wants to provide and
Yeah.
helps me want to do what I want, right?
That's a great description.
It's all about who you are. Money doesn't shape you. It's about
Yeah.
who you are and how you deal with that money and how you handle it.
For sure. For sure.
People
And I
don't
think,
understand that.
no, and I think you were even alluding to something too, where it was like, when you are, I think this is a common trait, right? So I think everybody thinks, oh, well, I don't have money. Like, no, like you go out and you create it, you make it,
Right.
right? You provide a service in exchange for $1,
Right.
right? So, but you have to be, at some sort of sense, like you would say you're obsessed about InstaHeat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like obsessed, right?
Yeah.
I would say I'm obsessed about this company. I think Elon's obsessed about Tesla. Jeff
Right.
Bezos obsessed about Amazon.
Exactly.
You could easily be obsessed about alcohol. You
Mhm.
could easily be obsessed about fast food. So people, I think, take their
Choices.
it's their choices, but I think they take their blessings as a crutch.
Right.
Like if you are literally 600-700 pounds, you have the ability to be as great because you have the ability to go to the extreme. Not everybody can get to that extreme level, right?
Exactly.
Like you have to be able to go to that fine line where I've been up for 32 hours. That's an extreme. Nobody's up for 32 hours, right?
Nope.
But like you have to put yourself into that position where the only option is to be up. The only option is for me to get from here to Cincinnati, to Atlanta, Georgia, to Houston, to Utah, back to Dallas, and back to Greenville, and do it within 5 days.
Right.
Well, you lose the ability to sleep on that. And that's a specific example that we turned a trip on. And it was all for the holiday season, but like we were able to go to that extreme level. And I think if people get comfortable in that extreme, they'll realize like the first time you work 24 hours, you will want to keep working more than you will want to go to sleep. Because the moment you go to sleep, you will sleep for 16 hours. Like you will crash hard.
Yeah.
And it's easier to stay awake than it is to go to sleep. It's crazy. It's something I discovered that like, and maybe it's just for me, I don't know. But I realize when I go 24 hours, maybe on like an hour here, an hour there in the passenger seat, something crazy like that, it's easier for me to stay awake. Like I get in this zone. Now I'm not as mentally sharp. Physically, I may pull a hamstring if I try to run a 40, but I can function.
Right.
So being able to go to the extreme is so important.
Definitely, yeah. And like what you said about if you stay up for 24 hours, you feel more comfortable being up because like you're already up, right?
Yep.
I felt that exact same situation whenever I was in Atlanta. I was doing a hackathon that my friend invited me to. We stayed up all night. It was funny because that weekend I didn't know this going there, but Jack Harlow was going to perform at the college, Emory University.
That's sick.
So it was the middle of the hackathon. I found a partner last second. We're building this idea, right? And everybody's like going outside. I'm like, yo, what's going on? Like, I'm gonna check out the window. Jack Harlow's outside. I couldn't go in because I don't have an Emory pass, but I found somebody that didn't want it. Sent me a screenshot their pass. I went in.
Boom.
Got in. Spent like 3 hours in there. It was so cool. Came out, worked all night because it was due 8 a.m. that morning.
Yeah.
So I was up a lot of hours. I can't even tell you how many hours I was. But after the Jack Harlow, went back to the office, straight to work. All night, pulled the all nighter. Everybody partied, after that. So, but we were in the living room, not in the living room, but like in the dorms. But they have like little like rooms where cubicles where you can like draw on the walls and stuff. We were there building it, and we didn't win, but it was just like it was so cool because it was 8 a.m. We turned it in, and I was like, I can't go to sleep. I'm gonna keep going. I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna wait it out because I have to interview and like pitch it to the investors after, right? So I was like, I'm just gonna stay up. Yeah. And that's exactly what you mentioned. Like you just feel more comfortable standing up, and I love that. Yeah. Just fall in love with the hustle.
Dude, it's the hustle. It's paying your dues. It's the grind.
Right.
Right. It's the sacrifices. But in the moment when you're doing it, you start to fall in love with the journey. And like Kobe Bryant talks about this.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, it's not about the destination. It's about the journey. And that's one thing. Like as I've got older and as I've like built this company and I just see the opportunities in front of me, I'm like, I'm still sitting here. I don't even think like I'm at, like a certain level. Because I'm like, man, like, I'm 20% of the way. Like, I can't stop. I can't rest. Like, I'm not finished. Like, we're nowhere near close to taking over the country. So, and that's like the final destination. But I enjoy day to day so much, like the grind. Like, I can't wait until the next time we sell 10 tables and we're, planning the operations and decide, okay, well, we got to go to this stop, this stop, this stop, this stop. We've got to put this on the truck first and then this one because this one's coming off last. And like automating the whole process and communicating with the customers. And then when it's finally done, you're like, man, I just did this huge turnaround. So just like you, when you were finally finished pitching to those investors, like you probably felt like I'm somebody. Like I did something.
The satisfaction from it.
Yeah.
That's what I love. And I know you love that.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, my final question. So before we end this.
All right. What you got?
Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Man. Well, I will tell you, when I was your age, somebody asked me that same question. And they said, where do you see yourself in 10 years? And I told them I saw myself south of Spain, sipping a mojito, smoking a cohiba with a white suit on. I haven't got there yet, so I'm going to say in 10 years, I see myself south of Spain, sipping a mojito, smoking a cohiba, but the only thing I'm going to add to it is I'm going to be with the guys who helped me get there. Guys, girls, the team, the hustlers who bought into the vision. We're all going to be on there. We're all going to be partying. We're all going to have a lot of fun. And I would relate that back to you. Close it up with where you're going to be in 10 years, bro.
10 years? I want to be... That's a good question. I don't know. 10 years. 10 years, I'm going to be, 29?
Yeah.
So, definitely... I want to be a big name in the sneaker industry. Like I said, that I grew up with the sneaker industry. I want to be a big name. I want to be known as somebody that's done something well for it. Just as, like, if you ask a person who wants to be the president, they want to be known as somebody who's done well for their country. I'm going to do the same thing, but with my culture.
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome, man. Just never quit.
For sure. It was a pleasure speaking with you, man.
Sweet, man.
Good podcast.
Sweet.
So yeah, we'll tune in. We're gonna post this on YouTube and podcast on Apple, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.
See ya. Hell yeah, bro.
That was good.